welcome to another episode of A Drummer's Guide to. So this week I'm totally going to geek out with you, and I'm not talking about drums, but I am going to definitely let you into the kind of things that I find it so fascinating and really gets me geared up. I'm so sad. So I'm reading this book at the moment. Well, I'm listening to it. It's an audiobook. I'm listening to it on my daily walks. It's called Routine Machine by John Lamerton. I'm obsessed with things like this, like routines and just how, self-improvement and how you can get better and being really productive and all this sort of stuff. So today I was walking and I listened to the book, and it was talking about this thing called marginal gains. I thought it was so fascinating and I just had to share it, basically. So I apologise, John. I'm going to be letting people into a little bit of your book right now. So this idea of marginal gains, I love it. So what you do basically is break down something that you're doing or you're trying to be. So let's say like being a drummer, you break it down into all its different components, or many of its different components. I mean, there's so many elements that go into being a drummer, but you break it down and then you take each individual thing and then you try and make it just 1% better. Just 1%. It's nothing. It's absolutely nothing. And then in theory, when you put all those pieces back together, the amount of improvement that you have is just so overwhelming, and it compounds, and it's just this beautiful thing. But I just thought this was just a fascinating concept, and I was thinking about it. So, as a drummer, let's just say, since I am a drummer, it kind of makes sense to kind of actually address this. So, let's talk about being a drummer. To be a drummer, you need to have good timing. So, break down your timing, technique, playing with others, I suppose, rudiments, articulation, control, groove, and then there's all the other stuff away from the drums, so things like social media, networking, or tuning the drums. That's a good one. Okay, if you can make each one of those things, or even just one of those things, 1% better, then your overall being as a drummer is going to be amazing. And he says as well that if you get 1% better every day for a year at one of these things or whatever, you'll be 37 times better after a year. How bonkers is that? I also realised that actually I've kind of been doing this, and I didn't realise that I was. So with my recording in emilydrums.com, in fact, emilydrums.com, and with Drumstem Club, which are free drum stems that I offer to people for like songwriters or producers or whatever. Every time I record, I always try to make everything just a little bit better. I don't know if it's 1% better. It may be 0.01%. It may actually be 10%. I don't know, because I haven't got that far with it yet, and I probably will. I'll try to start quantifying these things. In fact, I may start doing that in a minute. But yeah, so yeah, I just thought, wow, that's actually what I'm doing. And if you look back to the very first recordings that I'd done, some of which are actually out on Drumstem Club, so I think like the very first stem pack that I did was called Jaywalk, and that would have been 2 or 3 years ago maybe. The difference between Jaywalk, that first stem pack, and my latest one, which I can't even remember the name of, it's not Pleiade, but it's something like that. It's around that time. The difference in sound quality, in playing, in just miking technique, in use of compression, which was a new thing that I learned recently, that was more than 1%. Absolutely more than 1%. The difference is like chalk and cheese. It really is. And to be able to physically see that progression, I think, really helps as well, generally, in sort of trying to make this 1% better, because it probably doesn't feel like 1% is very much, but as I say, if you look back and go, actually, there is a noticeable difference. And I'm not saying I'm good, but I am saying that I am better. And that is something good. So let's take something like social media. Everyone's so on the social media thing at the moment. If you wanted to make yourself 1% better at social media, what would that look like? Let's say that at the moment, maybe you're posting 1 post a week, like just one. If you posted 2 posts a week, that's not that much more, but that's definitely more than 1% better, and that will compound, and the more that you do that, you will just by default be better at social media, and whatever you're trying to achieve within that, that's a whole other thing. I'll have to leave that to you. But you can do that with that. You can do it in other things as well, like health and exercise. Like if you just swap out, say you don't eat the healthiest stuff, maybe you eat a lot of like ready meals or whatever, swapping out one of those a week with a home cooked meal, or even doing like a meal prep thing. So once a month, maybe you make a batch of, I don't know, chili or something, but like healthy something, I don't know, something batched, and then you freeze it, make 4 portions of it, or depending how many people you're feeding, stick it in the freezer, and once a week you eat one of those things. That will make a difference. That's 1%, but it may lead to other things as well. It's quite an interesting thing. Same with maybe mindfulness. I don't know, if you spend 1%, no, maybe not 1% of your day. Is that quite a lot? I feel like that's quite a lot. Anyway, spend 5 minutes of your day just sat down, just breathing. Just being aware of your surroundings. That will make a difference. 100% that will make a difference. Or, okay, this is a good one because I started doing this years ago. I swear to you, it is the difference between me spiraling down a sort of feeling down depression kind of hole and not. And that is saying things that I'm grateful for, which it sounds, it might sound a bit out there, a bit hippy dippy. I literally don't care what you think about what I'm saying right now. It has worked for me. So when I brush my teeth, I say things that I'm grateful for. If you just, do that, just say one thing that you're grateful for. And it can be as simple as, I am grateful that I am alive today. I am grateful that I woke up. That's literally the first thing my husband says to me most mornings. I'm like, oh, how did you sleep? And he doesn't sleep too well. And I said, and he'll be like, oh, nothing to complain about. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry you didn't sleep well. He went, it's fine. I woke up. I'm happy. Like, life is good. And I think that's such an important part of life, and just being appreciative of whatever little, it's easy to find things that you're not happy with in your life. I have many things that I'm not happy with in my life, but I'm not going to focus on those. I'm going to focus on the things that I am grateful for. Like, I have food in my fridge, and I have a roof over my house, a roof over my head. I know that I'm incredibly lucky. I have a flipping studio, crying out loud. I'm incredibly lucky. But sometimes, you know what? It's you forget to focus on those good things. So anyway, I don't know why I went down this rabbit hole. Anyway, 1% better, that's all you gotta be, just 1% better. And if you want to break yourself down into a million different pieces, please don't get overwhelmed, first of all, if you do that, because that's the kind of thing that I would overwhelm myself with. But just take one thing. Just take one thing about your drumming, or your guitar playing, or whatever you're doing, or your health, or exercise, or whatever. Just take one thing, one tiny, tiny, tiny little thing, and try to make it 1% better, and just see what happens. Oh, you gotta be patient. That's the other thing. I'm not very good at that. Patience. That's a whole nother topic that I probably shouldn't be talking about. And I just go and start talking about my lack of patience and giving you a million examples, but we'll see how that goes. Anyway, I'm going to stop rambling for today. 1% better. Be 1% better. You can do it. It's not that much. It's super cool. Anyway, I'm going to go back to reading my geeky book. Routine Machine is so good. Alright, I'm going to send you lots of love, and I will see you next week for another subject. Alright, see you guys later. Bye.